Guys, welcome back. So today I'm going to be giving you guys some tips on how to improve your self-awareness, because I feel like once you have self-awareness you're invincible, because you know your strengths and your weaknesses, so you know how to use them appropriately. Excuse my voice, I went to a concert a few days ago and I'm still recovering a little bit, so yeah. Anyways, before we get started, could I ask you guys to please kindly subscribe, share the videos with your friends and family, just your socials. And talking of socials, follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and you can ask me questions that you have. So yeah, let's get into the video. So the first thing that you can do to help increase your self-awareness is using a tool called Johari's window, and I'm obviously going to insert a picture of it on the screen so you know exactly what it looks like and how it works. So this was a tool created specifically to increase self-awareness, and I'm not going to go into the history of it, but I'd say the best way to go through Johari's window would be to start with the open area, which is the area that's known to you and to others around you. So with this, I would suggest maybe printing it out, or maybe just writing a list with the headings like open area. What is the open area? What is something that you know about yourself and that others know about you? They don't have to be the same things, because there's stuff that other people might not spot, but there are things that people might know that you might not be able to spot about yourself. So in that list, it's probably the biggest area. That's the area that you want to grow to be the biggest, because that's your area of self-awareness. You essentially want the open area to be the biggest area. So obviously with the open area, you know yourself, so you write what you know about yourself, and you ask people who know you from different situations and different settings, and they can also help you to fill that out. Next would be the hidden area, which is known to you but not known to others. So this area obviously is like maybe your secrets and traits that you hide, or if you tend to be a people pleaser, or you tend to adapt a lot to people around you, so you don't really think for yourself when people around you tend to follow the crowd. There are things that only you know about yourself, because when you're around other people you're a pretender, you don't really act like your true self. Then this area would probably be quite big, because there's a lot of things that you know about yourself that other people don't know about. This can be good things, bad things, it can be anything. So with this one, the only way for this list to come out great is for you to be really, really honest with yourself and admit to yourself things that you might not necessarily want to agree with, or that you might not necessarily want to accept about yourself. And also, don't be afraid to pick yourself up if there are amazing things about you that other people don't know. Put it there, even if it's a random talent, even if it's something that you've never utilized. Yeah, put it down. So next is the blind spot, which is known to others but not known to you. This one you would only be able to fill out by asking people around you. So this includes asking colleagues, your partner, your friends, your family, and if you're still on speaking terms with your ex, you can also ask your ex. So these are things that other people definitely are 100% sure about you. For example, some people have said that I'm stubborn. I'm always like, no, I'm not stubborn, I'm assertive. So maybe I just have to accept that, okay, maybe I am stubborn. Maybe that's my blind spot, like that is my blind spot. So there are things that you might not want to hear, there are things you might not want to accept, but once again, if it's people telling you something that is, especially if it's coming from multiple people, then you definitely have to kind of look twice and analyze yourself and maybe think it's true. So ask them to be as open and honest as possible. Let them know that you're not going to take offense. It's not the time for you to argue and say no. It's the time for you to listen and be open to feedback and be open to constructive criticism. And obviously, if you know that you can't handle it, don't do it. The last part is obviously the unknown. No one knows anything about it, you or others. It's probably in your subconscious. You'll only discover it as life goes on, hopefully. So how do you navigate this box? How do you fill in this box? Well, my suggestion would be to try new things. It would be to put yourself outside of your comfort zone, to try things that normally scare you or things that you normally avoid. Obviously, I'm not saying, if you're scared of snakes, go and get a snake wrapped around you. No. But all I'm saying is try things that you've always kind of avoided, or things that things are not going to bring you harm. I don't want somebody to have a panic attack, please. Don't sue me. But try new things that you maybe are afraid of, whether that's like new food, or just going to somewhere different, or changing your routine, or doing something that makes you uncomfortable, but doing it out of the fact that it's going to help you grow. and see how you respond, because when you put yourself in new situations and new circumstances, you see a different side of yourself that you've never seen before. So for example, when you go into a relationship, you might have never seen that you've got a soft side. You might not have known that you've got a aggressive side. So there are certain situations when you put yourself into that you find a new side of yourself that you don't know, that other people don't know. And this is the only way to do it, is to try new things, because if you've already known yourself with the things that you do every single day, you already know what you're like in those situations, then of course you need to try new things. But at the same time, one thing I would also recommend is to continuously analyze yourself in your everyday situations. Maybe you're at work, maybe you're on the way home from work, maybe you're at school, maybe you're with your friends. Analyze things about yourself that you might not have even considered, thinking like, oh, I'm a bit like this when I'm around my friends, or I'm like this when I'm around my parents, and things that you may not have noticed before. Analyze yourself, and these are things that are in your subconscious that you've never actually picked up on or noticed, and that other people might not have noticed as well. Good luck with figuring this out, but ultimately the goal of self-awareness with this tool is to get the open area to be as big as possible. So good luck. Everything that's in the blind spot, the hidden area and the unknown should hopefully eventually move to the open area, because as soon as obviously you're aware of it and others are aware of it, it should move to the open area, and voila, increased self-awareness just like that. Obviously it's not overnight, but yeah, you can do it. So the second thing you can do to increase self-awareness is therapy. Obviously that's a little bit obvious, hence see the counsellor, but honestly I think therapy is a great way to discover yourself. It's not just for relationship problems, it's not just for when life is hard, it's not just for when you're emotionally overwhelmed. And I did talk about this in my other video, 6 reasons why you should get therapy. I'm gonna link it above if you haven't watched it. So therapy can obviously help you to grow as a person and to grow in self-awareness and realizing things, especially about who you are now, that was influenced by your childhood. So for example, recently in my therapy, I've been talking to my therapist about my passive aggressiveness, where it came from, how I've come about to have it, and how I can grow out of it, and how I can change it, how I can stop it. And it's also led to like talking about how I struggle to apologize and where that stems from. And yes, surprise surprise, it stems from my childhood. So now I'm aware of it, I can definitely put that in like my hidden area, and maybe it might move to my open area. I don't really think people know that I struggle to apologize, but I know. I don't think other people know. So that's in my hidden area, and now I'm self-aware, I can work on it because now I understand where it stems from as well. So I would highly recommend therapy, to just go in there, maybe write down all the things you want to work on and improve on as a person, maybe your flaws, your weaknesses, things that you struggled with, things that are holding you back. Write them down, take them to therapy, and be ready to face them and be ready to acknowledge them and accept it. I don't like admitting that I'm passive aggressive. I don't like admitting that I have a little bit of pride and I can't say sorry, and I hate saying sorry, and I hate being corrected. I hate it, but it is helping me in the long run, and I'm going to be a better person all for it. So one thing I would say though is, if you're going to go to that, you have to actually be prepared to talk about those things. You have to actually be prepared to admit that yes, you're a bit of a crappy person sometimes, and some of your personality traits are not so great. But that's the reality of life. Nobody's perfect, right? So take yourself to therapy if you can afford it, whether you can or you can't. But eventually, when you have the time and the means to, take yourself to therapy and get some self-awareness out of it. So the third thing that I would recommend to improving your self-awareness is asking people about yourself. I remember listening to this podcast where the founder of Gymshark was explaining how he would ask people in his life to kind of give him like criticism on himself as a person, and you know, there was some things that people kept saying about him and he was like, no way, that's not me, like that, there's no way that's me. But eventually he accepted it, because you know, that's the whole point of this task. You ask people to be honest about what they see in you, and when they tell you, don't try to fight them. So you have to be really open-minded about this, because it is a bit daunting to have people like literally Google review you as a person essentially. So I would highly recommend this. I haven't done it myself, but I would love to. But I feel like obviously some people might be a bit scared to criticize you or to say what they really think of you. But if you can find people in your life who are honest enough to tell you the truth about yourself, then this would be really helpful to you. So some people describe me as stubborn. I was like, no way, I'm not stubborn, I'm assertive. And now I've had to just accept that maybe it might be true, and I will probably work on it at some point during my therapy. But for now, at least I know that that's what some people think of me. Not everybody, but some people. The next tip that you can use to grow your self-awareness is obviously trying new things. I know I already mentioned this before, but when I say try new things, obviously I mentioned doing things outside of your comfort zone, doing things that you've never wanted to do before, but here's how you can practically work on that. So if you really want to do this properly, what I would recommend is writing what I need a name for it. If you guys can give me a name for it, that would be great. Something like the opposite of a bucket list. I don't know what we should call it, but if you can think of something cool, leave it in the comment below. So write something that's like the opposite of a bucket list. Everything that you've never wanted to do, everything that you've always wanted to avoid trying, anything that you've always said you'd never do, and write a list of those things from like the least uncomfortable to the most uncomfortable, and then do them in that order if you can. So for example, if you've said like I never want to do skydiving, I never want to go on a hot air balloon, put those things on the list, obviously in order of the least uncomfortable to the most uncomfortable, and just put yourself out there and just try it all. Like try it all and push yourself to new limits and expand your horizons by doing things practically, and try and put a date next to it so that you can actually do it, because if you just write it, you might just sit on it forever and procrastinate forever and ever. So try new things, whether that's like new restaurants, new books, new genres of music, new genres of movies, a new route to work, a new routine for your daily life, new way of dressing, new way of talking, trying a new language, visiting a country that you said you'd never go to. Like, you know, just put yourself out there and try new things. Maybe even if it's like trying a new bedtime routine, trying new hairstyles, trying new anything really. Just put yourself out there, because then when you're in those new situations, like I said, you have to analyze how you're behaving. Think about what you are recognizing within yourself that's different, whether that's good or bad. Note it down, keep a little diary like of all the things you're feeling, the things you're noticing about yourself and your behavior and your thoughts, and just work on that. And then whatever you notice, that also now becomes part of the open area that you are aware of, and hopefully other people will be aware of too. Obviously do everything within limits. Like I said before, you do not need to put yourself in dangerous, harmful situations. If you know something's going to cause you to have a panic attack or it's going to cause you to go into cardiac arrest, don't do it. Like, it's not by force. Do what's within your limits to protect yourself. Don't harm yourselves, guys, please. And the last tip I would give to you guys is to read new books. Now, I'm not saying go read every self-help book out there. I don't really read self-help books. If anything, I would just say try and read books to expand your knowledge on things that you didn't know about, or read about something that's something that you've always been interested in. If you've always been interested in Greek mythology, try and read a book about it. You know, become an expert in something that you've always been interested in but never given the time of day. Read romance novels, read people's autobiographies. Like, just try and read new material of books. Maybe challenge yourself to read one book a month, or one book every 2 months, or 5 books in a year or something. Last year I challenged myself to read one book a month and I got to like September and then I flopped, but we'll try again next year. If you're not sure what to read, find a random topic, or maybe just go on Amazon and pick the first book you see, or just close your eyes and scroll until you land on a book, or find the best-selling book in a random category. This could vary. It could be about biology, it could be about Greek mythology, it could be about religion, it could be about child rearing, it could be about body language, it could be about love languages, it could be about anything. Like, just pick a book, fiction, non-fiction, and read it and let it help you expand your mind and give you a new perspective on things that you've never thought about or never looked into before, and challenge yourself to just read through it. And if you struggle with reading, you find reading to be the most boring thing in this world, what I would say is give yourself like a reward for maybe every chapter that you read, or every 10 pages that you read a day. Be like, okay, no Netflix tonight until I've read my 10 pages, no cheat day until I read 5 chapters, like, or until I finish this chapter. Like, give yourself something to work towards, to keep you going and to keep you pushing, and maybe get an accountability partner, someone who will check that you've been reading. So that is all I can say. If you guys have any more tips for things that have helped you increase your self-awareness, also leave that in the comments below. And yeah, like I said, please guys, don't forget to subscribe. We are currently on 119 subscribers, and I thank all of you for tuning in every week, and I will see you next week. Enjoy the bloopers and see you guys next week. Bye. And someone who will administer your reward, or make sure that you can't get your reward if you haven't stuck to your word. read books on people's biographies, or no, is it autobiography or biography? No, I don't know where I got to, but let's say, so the CEO of Gymshark was so he used to ask people to basically give him feedback on his personality, on him. That's your biggest area that you want. They don't have to be obviously the same things, because there are things that you know that other people, but I've not heard great things. I haven't heard the most amazing things about them, and